Hello there guys, and welcome to another one of my reviews. As you already saw, today we are dealing with an extremely special car, and I'm talking about the BMW i8 Roadster. This is a car that has been waited for by BMW fans for, let's say, about 6 years. That's because it is the incarnation, the production version of BMW's i8 initial concept, which was revealed in 2012. Before the i8 even became reality in coupe guys, they unveiled a concept which was the i8 Roadster. Basically, it was dubbed the BMW i8 Spider, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a drop top with only 2 seats and without a roof. So BMW fans have been waiting for that car to become reality for quite some time. BMW, of course, offered us the i8 Coupe, which is a beautiful car all on its own, but people wanted the drop-top feeling ever since they first saw the concept. So last year, BMW unveiled the Roadster, and this year the cars are starting to get delivered, and we are testing one today. So what's the difference between the Roadster and the i8 Coupe? Well, first of all, the name. So the Roadster tells you that this car has only 2 seats. The reason for that is BMW was constrained by the space available inside the car, so they had to remove the rear seats, which weren't all that usable anyway in the Coupe. They removed the rear seats to make room for the roof retraction mechanism, and to make room for the roof to be actually stored somewhere. So this is how we end up with 2 seats. This also means that you get some storage space here in the back to help out, because as you already probably know, the i8 doesn't have a conventional boot as you'd have on other cars. Having the engine, the internal combustion engine, fitted on top of the rear axle cuts into the space, so you do get some room in the back, but not a lot for luggage. You could probably fit 2 carry-on airplane cases, and that's about it. Also, in the front, you don't have room to spare, because that's where the electric engine is. So all you're left with is basically the room in the back of the seat and the room in the back, which isn't all that great anyway. So BMW created some interesting ways to allow you to use the space more efficiently. You have all sorts of dividers, all sorts of hooking devices. You have a hook in the back of the seat. You have a drawer here which opens up. So they try to offer more practicality, but in the end, the Roadster, is less practical than the i8 Coupe. So talking about practicality, how do you use a Roadster in everyday situations? Well, the short answer is you don't really, because the problem with this car is it wasn't created to be practical. Okay, it was created to be beautiful. It was created to give you a great feeling while driving it, and it provides that with too much emphasis. So you get a lot of attention from everyone around town. I mean, ever since I got this car, it was basically a staring contest around town. Everyone's staring. People just don't care that they stare at you, and you actually can see them. People are taking pictures everywhere. Of course, the shape of the car is one of the reasons. Another reason, I think, is the color. The e-copper color on the outside, which is absolutely stunning, looks absolutely great. But of course, the shape of the car as well. Speaking of which, compared to the Coupe, the rear panels have been changed. On the Coupe, you have windows in the back. They are gone, and in their stead, BMW uses a aluminum plaque with the Roadster word on it. And you get 2 massive bulges behind each seat, which actually remind me of the Stirling Moss Mercedes-Benz. And they look great, but they do cut into your visibility if you're trying to see if a car is coming from behind when you're merging. They do cut into visibility. Visibility isn't exactly the forte of these cars, because yeah, the side mirrors do a good job. You get to see those sexy wide hips in the back. You do get a decent view out the rear view mirror, the center rear view mirror, but other than that, you know, the A-pillars had to be reinforced with carbon fiber, because this is a drop top to hold the windshield better. The rear windows have been gone, and as I said, the protuberances in the back cut into your field of view. None of that actually matters though, because this car was created to be a weekend cruiser. And I was talking about practicality earlier on. It isn't all that practical. You get, let's talk about cup holders, for example. Okay, if in a traditional BMW, you'd get them over here, 2 of them, and in the back a couple, whatever. In the i8, they had to improvise. There's a cup holder here and a cup holder here, which isn't all that great. Maybe that's for the passengers so that the driver doesn't get distracted easy. Inside the cabin, we also have these beautiful carbon fiber trims, which are a new addition for the i8 facelift and the i8 Roadster. We also get ceramic surrounds in the cabin and a new iDrive system. Speaking of which, one of the gripes I have with this car is the instrument cluster. I mean, of course, on the pre-facelift model, there was the same issue. It looks good, it's a digital cluster, of course, but in my opinion, it's just too small. I mean, you can have trouble reading it at times. Luckily, you get heads-up display, which that does help, but still, I feel like the instrument cluster could have been a bit bigger. Also, since the doors open sideways, being hinged on the A-pillars, you don't get door pockets and you don't get cup holders in there either. So in terms of practicality, the i8 has to suffer a little, both the coupe and the Roadster. But then again, you just take the top off, which takes about 15 seconds and can be done at speeds up to 50 kilometers an hour, and you don't really care anymore. This car is an absolute beauty. It is the most beautiful car BMW is making today, and it turns heads like crazy, as I already told you. But what about the technical side of things? Well, for the Roadster and the i8 Coupe facelift, BMW added a couple of things. The battery, first and foremost, the battery on the i8 Roadster is located here in the center console. It is similar in size with the old model, but it has a higher energy density. So what that means is, instead of the 7.8, I think, kilowatt hour battery you used to get on the old model, on the new one and on the Roadster, you get an 11.6 kilowatt battery, which increases the electric range of the i8 Roadster, because yes, this car is a hybrid, in case you didn't know. It has an electric engine motor on the front axle, and it has an internal combustion engine on the rear axle. The internal combustion engine is a 3-cylinder 1.5 liter turbocharged mill with 231 horsepower and 320 Newton meters of torque. And the front axle electric motor has been upgraded from the old 131 horsepower mill to a 143 horsepower motor. The torque figure remained the same at 250 Newton meters. What that means is this car has 374 horsepower and 570 Newton meters of torque. Those numbers, as you can tell, are added up, simply adding up the electric motor up front and the internal combustion engine in the back. That's something you don't see every day, because most hybrids can't deliver the full amount of torque and power at the same time. But on the i8, they work together, they are not intertwined, so BMW was able to deliver all the power all the time. It uses a 6-speed conventional automatic gearbox and a 2-speed gearbox for the electric motor up front. And the speed is quite interesting. I wouldn't say it's breathtaking, but it is a fast car. Speaking of fast, the 0 to 62 mile an hour or 0 to 100 kilometers an hour sprint is done in 4.6 seconds. Now, that's something you need to take into consideration, because if you probably are familiar with the i8 Coupe, the i8 Coupe does the same sprint in 4.4 seconds. So why is the Roadster a bit slower? Well, because they had to take the roof off, the car had to be strengthened in order to cope with flexing. So it is about 60 kilos heavier than its coupe alternative. It tips the scale at 1595 kilos or something like that. So it is a bit heavier, hence the slower 0 to 60 time. But that's no issue. I mean, you would think that if you have a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine powering the car, it would be slow, but it isn't. It isn't a slow car, and actually the throttle response is absolutely sharp, mainly due to the electric motor up front, which allows you to power instantly without any noticeable turbo lag. That's the great advantage of electric motors. They can deliver instant torque just like that, while the turbos pull up for the small engine in the back. That said, it is a really fun car to drive. The all-wheel drive system is actually extremely intelligent. You can actually use the DSC setting to turn traction control partially off and have some fun getting the rear end to skid. Furthermore, the front end doesn't understeer a lot. I have to mention that at times, if you push the car to, I don't know, 9/10, it will understeer. But I'm guessing, as far as I can tell, it's because of the front tires. The front tires are quite narrow for a car with this kind of power. They're 215s in width, and if you push the car hard enough, you can actually feel how it's losing its grip on the front end, and I'm guessing it's because of the wheels. It's losing grip when turning in and into the corner, when you need grip on the front axle in order to turn sharply. So I'm guessing with wider, stickier tires, this car comes with Bridgestone Potenzas as standard. With wider and stickier tires, the handling could be improved a lot. But other than that, the car feels neutral up to 6-7/10. It's great to drive, and the engine doesn't sound all that bad, surprisingly, I might add. So, what's the conclusion about the i8 Roadster? Well, to be honest, it is a brilliant car. It is good looking. You get a carbon fiber tube chassis. You get a lot of technology for the money, and it's simply a great weekend cruiser. It's not practical, of course it's not. It may not be the fastest car in the 150,000 euro to 200,000 euro price range. But in the end, it's all about how you look at things. I mean, show me another car with a carbon fiber chassis at this price range, and I'm gonna agree with you that the i8 is not a bargain. Some might say it's expensive, but I don't think it is, even though it comes with a three-cylinder engine. That little engine does its job perfectly. And another thing, show me another car with this kind of performance and price tag that sips about 7.4 liters of fuel every 100 kilometers covered. I dare you to show me a car like that. I know people affording this kind of car don't really care about how much fuel it sips, and I have to be honest, the range isn't great because the fuel tank is rather small, so you won't be able to do more than, let's say, 250 miles on a tank, or about 400 kilometers. But then again, why spend more when you can just get a car that, I'm gonna be honest with you, I parked it next to an SLS last night, a Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG, and I wasn't ashamed. I mean, people were actually looking more at the doors of the i8 than the SLS, which comes with a 5.5 liter V8. So, you know, it's a matter of taste, but this car is for people who are tech savvy, who don't mind the fact that you get in and out extremely hard. It's a lot easier with the roof up, with the roof down. It's for people who care about the environment, but also want to be chic and draw attention to them. So it is a brilliant car. It is a car we've been waiting for. That being said, this has been my review of the BMW i8 Roadster. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep this channel going. Until next time, see you guys.